Hello and welcome to our webinar. My name is Joe Tadaro, and today we'll be talking about Northern Line and the early release of superannuation, changes to minimum pension payments, and some Northern Line enhancements. There's been a lot coming in the last few weeks in terms of changes to some legislation for the COVID-19, and we'll be running through a lot of that today. I'd like to thank everyone out there for joining around Australia. Please note on your screen on your left-hand side, you'll see a little speech box there. Please click on that if you have any questions about any of the content that we discussed today. Please open it up and we'll endeavour to get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. So please keep your questions coming through. Note also, if your audio drops out at any time, I encourage you to please close down the browser and reopen to rejoin our session. In the event that you can't join, or you'd like to review the content at a later time, our webinar is recorded and will be uploaded to Northern Line. So I'll just jump on Northern Line and show you exactly where that will be. So on Northern Line, under the support tab across the top, down to training videos, and on the training videos page, you scroll all the way down the bottom, we've got our webinar recording. So every webinar that we have conducted is recorded and uploaded to Northern Line. So please share them with any colleagues that wish to view this content as well. So we've got quite an agenda to get through today. We're going to be looking at an overview, and then giving individuals early access to superannuation. We're going to look at reducing superannuation minimum pension drawdowns, and then we'll finish with some Northern Line enhancements. And those enhancements include some client transaction authority and quick access to view previously viewed clients. So we'll get started with an overview, but as many of you will obviously know, that the government has enacted legislation to support its economic response to COVID-19 to help the economy withstand and recover from the economic impact of the coronavirus. And some of those include giving individuals early release of superannuation and the reduction of minimum pension payments required for allocated and non-communable allocated pension accounts, or NCAP accounts. And we're going to start with the early release of superannuation. We're receiving lots of calls in the North Service Centre. So the government is allowing individuals affected by COVID-19 to access up to $10,000 of their superannuation in this current financial year and a further $10,000 in the next financial year. So eligible individuals will be able to access $10,000 of their super before the 1st of July this year, and a further $10,000 from the 1st of July, so next financial year, up until the 24th of September 2020. So for clients to apply for the early release of funds, the client must satisfy one or more of the requirements listed with the ATO. So we urge that you visit ato.gov.au. All the information is there for the early release of super. The client would need to meet those conditions of release in order to gain money. The applications for the release of superannuation will be accepted through MyGov. So they need to apply through MyGov, and that will commence from the 20th of April. Clients can, however, register their interest right now, and they'll be logging into their MyGov account following the intention to access coronavirus support instructions. So if they wish, they can jump on the MyGov site now to register their interest to apply. Otherwise, will be open from the 20th of April. Do encourage you to visit the ATO site to confirm eligibility for that as well. So if you have gone and reviewed that at the ATO website, if the client is ineligible for early release of super due to COVID-19, other conditions of releases to gain access to super include compassionate grounds, severe financial hardship, terminal medical condition, temporary incapacity, permanent incapacity, first home super schemes. So please review all of that content prior for applying. So we'll move on to changes to pension accounts, which will be effective the 30th of March. For many retirees, the losses in financial markets as a result of COVID-19 crisis are having, as you may well know, a negative effect on the account balance of their superannuation and pension or annuity. To assist retirees, the government has introduced the minimum annual pension payment required for account-based pensions and annuities and allocated pension and annuities, market-linked pensions and annuities by 50% in the current financial year, 2019 to 20, and 20 to 21 financial is the next financial year. So as it currently stands, the minimum drawdowns for pension accounts on the North platform, of course, legislation requirements indicate for those under 65 years of age is 4%, and it goes up on a scale from there. So what would apply is a 50% reduction in that minimum pension payment. So it halves it effectively. So for those under 65, from 4%, it comes down to 2%, and so on and so forth, as you can see on your table just there. So in response to that, the following changes have been applied to North pension accounts, and that includes new accounts. So the new reduced rates will be applied to all new accounts when the minimum pension is selected as the pension payment option. So if you're out there and starting a new pension application and select minimum, the new pension minimums will apply. Also, if you're conducting a full withdrawal from an account, so if you are conducting a full withdrawal from the account, the pension account will always require a prorated minimum pension payment to be taken by the client. So if that hasn't occurred, they haven't met their minimum pension payment for the current financial year, then what happens is a catch-up payment is made as a part of the withdrawal process. And that catch-up payment, that utilizes the new reduced minimum rates. So if your client today was to totally redeem all of the funds in their pension account for an allocated pension account as a full withdrawal, there would of course need to be an ad hoc minimum pension payment as a part of that if they haven't already met the minimum. And note from now on, it will be the reduced minimum that will apply. That will also happen, of course, if you're moving from a pension account as an account transfer out of pension. So if you're moving to pension to a new pension account, moving back to super, or recasting a pension account, the minimum will always apply. So we'll check the account to see if it has indeed received the minimum pension payment for the financial year. And if it hasn't, then there'll be that catch-up payment. So that will also apply for account transferring and recasting pension accounts. As it usually does, it just means that new reduced minimum rate will apply. So existing pension payment amounts remain unchanged. So existing client accounts that have the minimum pension payment selected, they will continue to receive the same pension payment amount for the remainder of this financial year. So in the current financial year, if the client has selected the minimum pension payment and that is not altered, then it won't be a reduction in the minimum pension payment. It'll just be the minimum that is set. So for example, in our table that we previously looked at, just here, if the client was, say, for example, under 65 years of age, the drawdown rate is at 4%. It will stay at that amount unless you refresh that pension payment, which I'll show you in a few moments' time. So from 2021, the new reduced rates will automatically apply to any accounts that have the minimum selected as their pension payment option. The reduced pension payment rates also apply to term allocated pensions by allowing pension amounts to be reduced to no less than 45% of the prescribed payment amount. For pension accounts that commence partway through 2019-20, so the current financial year, or the next financial year, the 50% reduction applies to the minimum annual payment that is calculated proportionately on the account balance on the commencement day. So if the account commences after the start of the financial year, then the minimum that applies is a prorated amount, and it will be the new minimum. If you want to amend pension payments to take advantage of the new reduced rates, all you have to do is just need to jump on North Online, select the client account, and then navigate to pension details. So I'll run through that in a couple of moments' time. So having a look at an account in the pension payment details, the summary screen is summarized just like this. So not a lot has changed apart from some new information that we have added to make it a lot easier for you guys out there. So we add the date of the commencement of the pension. So this example is the 13th of April, 2016. So we've got the new information. This is the date deposit received. The account balance as of the first day of the financial year, we'll display that. The account balance will also include the minimum pension, and that will actually display the reduced drawdown amount. So it'll have a minimum pension amount, and that'll tell you what the reduced amount would be for the financial year. And then the last bit of information, which is quite critical, which we have added, which to make your lives a lot easier, will be pension received this financial year. So what amount of pension payments has your client received in the financial year? So further to that, within the pension payment details, if you have selected the minimum pension amount, there is a button just on your right-hand side. It's a new button, which is Apply Reduced Rate. So all you have to do is select this button to apply the new minimum pension announced on the 12th of March. There is a bit of a link that you can click on that'll bring up a guide, which is a lot of the content that we're discussing today. You just click on the link for those details. But if you do refresh, so if you hit the Apply Reduced Rate button, your new payment amount will be indicated in the box. This little box here has a 0 as a reduced rate amount. So it'll reduce that amount, it'll display it on your screen. You would need to submit the refresh of the pension. So you hit next, open up the document and submit the changes for those to take effect, of course. We have some examples of how this will work. So the first example is how to continue to receive existing pension payments. So for the current financial year, we haven't applied the new reduced minimum rates to the payment amount for existing pension accounts. To continue receiving the same minimum, so without the new minimum, you don't have to do anything at all. The new pension payments will continue to be paid until the 30th of June 2020. So you won't have to make any changes at all. So in the next financial year though, if you have indicated that minimum, the new reduced rates will apply at the start of the financial year for those that have selected minimum. So you then do have the option to change from minimum to a specified amount, to a higher amount if you wish. And this allows you to nominate a specific dollar amount to be paid as a pension. This specified amount will not be changed at the start of the financial year. So if you go in there right now and make the changes to a specific amount, in the new financial year, this will not be reset. It'll keep that detail. But if you do select minimum and it clicks over to the next financial year, then it will be the reduced minimum. Our second example is a client that has already met their reduced minimum for the financial year. So the new payment amount in this circumstance is $0. So if they've already met the reduced minimum and you refresh that pension payment to be the reduced minimum, then it'll actually set just as per here below. Your new payment will be $0. So the reduced rate, $0. So there wouldn't be any further payments in this scenario to be required by the 30th of June. But of course, in order for this to take effect, you will indeed need to go into pension details, click on apply the reduced rate, and then proceed with your activity and submit those changes. Our final example is where pension payments received have not met the reduced rate for this financial year. So if you want to go in, reduce it, and they haven't met that reduced rate for the financial year. So if we go ahead and click apply reduce rate, on your right-hand side, it will reduce the minimum pension payments. In this scenario, it's going to reduce it down to $1,000 per monthly payment for the last 3 months of the financial year. There we go. So the changes take effect then. So when you click apply reduce rate, the payment amount updates to that $1,000. So we'll update to that new minimum that will apply for the account. And there is going to be 3 monthly payments remaining for the financial year, which equates to $3,000. So of course, for this to take effect, you need to jump online, refresh, and continue to submit the pension details. And note also with those changes, Centrelink schedules can be generated on North, and that will reflect the updated pension details with the reduced rate. So if you go in there and you change the pension details to a specified amount or select to refresh the minimum pension payment on there, after you've done that, go in and generate a Centrelink schedule on North. That will indeed reflect the new updated pension details with that reduced rate. So we'll move on to a couple of enhancements on North, and those include a quick access to previously viewed clients. So there's a little side menu on the left-hand side of North that when you select a client's account, if you go into another client's account, it will actually keep a log of that, and it'll indicate how many client accounts you're currently in. So there's a little drop-down box just on your your screen there. If you select that, the pop-up on the left-hand side will pop out and it'll tell you the accounts that you're currently in for your client. So right now, you can now see the total number of clients you've opened quickly to navigate between clients previously viewed. So in this example here, I've got Mr. Barry Smith. He's got an account there. And then I've got Mr. Bob Smith, who also has an account. So I was within both of those accounts. So if I'm doing some work for Bob, I hit the side menu and then I click into Barry's account, do a little bit more work, submit an activity, and then go back into this side menu, go back to Bob. You can go in between as many accounts as you wish. And the number indicated there will have the number 2. In this example, I'm in 2 accounts. So if you're in 5 accounts, it'll reflect 5 on there. So if you didn't want that, so if you wanted to exit all of the accounts at the same time, you just select the red box just here that has all and the cross beside that. But if you individually wanted to get out of client accounts, you just hit the red cross that corresponds with the client account you wish to move out of. Another enhancement is to be able to grant one of your clients transaction access on North Online. And we'll run through what transaction access in a couple of moments' time. But if your client logs on to North Online, their user ID will be their client reference number, their client number. So they pop that in, they'll have their own password. When they log on to North Online, the things that they do have the ability to do, which they default with access, is to view their account details, to track their investments, importantly, to update their bank account details. So for you guys out there, advisors and support staff, in your office, you have the opportunity to add a client's bank account only when you commence a new business application. Once you've submitted that application, you're unable to add or update the bank information. However, your client can log on to North Online at any time and update their bank details. The client can also update their contact details if they wish to do that. They can also view and update death nominations. And finally, they can update their regular savings or regular withdrawal plans if desired. They can do all of this as default settings. So further to that, on North Online, which we've always had, is the ability to grant your client transaction access. So previously to do that, it was stored in the access area on North Online. It was a little bit hidden and the search functionality wasn't that good on it. So we have improved that. So right now we've improved that where it's right now within your client's account. So you can now give your client access to transact on North Online via a simple toggle found on the client's view all account screen. So what you have to do is find a client account in their client level where you've got view all accounts. So in example, I've got Mr. Barry Smith just there. There is a little toggle that has transaction access and you can turn it on and off as desired whenever you like to do that. So it's been removed from that previous access page. So with one click of the button, you can provide your clients with transaction access. You might be asking, what is transaction access? And transaction access, by delegating that for a client, it means as well as the being able to add their bank account, view their details and their investments and death nominations, they will also be able to do switches on North Online, which they are currently unable to do without the transaction authority. They're able to switch investments on North Online. They're also able to alter the account investment instructions, and that includes the cash account minimum, cash account target, automatic buy, sell, and rebalance profiles. They're able to do those. They're also able to rebalance investments and submit corporate actions on North Online. But please note, with that access, the client will still be unable to withdraw funds on North Online. They are unable to log on to North Online. As you guys, advisors and support staff, are able to withdraw funds North Online, the client is still unable to do that on North Online. And also please note that once granted transaction access, so once you give those rights to them, you're able to give it to them and you're also able to remove them. But if you either remove servicing rights, so if you remove your advisor's servicing rights from their account, they are still retained. And also if you pick up that client, so if you're the new servicing advisor for your client and they have already been granted transaction access, then that will actually stay with them as well. They're able to retain those transaction access as well. So what is the support material available to you? So on North Online, of course, at the top, you've got North Chat. So chat with an experienced North consultant on North Chat. You can also contact the North Service Centre, or alternatively on North, under your support community down to training resources. All of our step-by-step guides for anything transactional in North Online is available there. There's some great resources there. Further down from that is training videos. There's small snippet videos to view if you like training in that way. Also, as we mentioned earlier, this webinar is recorded along with every webinar that we do conduct and is listed there under training videos all the way down to webinar recordings. You can watch it anytime and refer to it or refer that video onto a colleague if desired. And of course, I'll keep the webinar open for a couple of minutes more. On your left-hand side menu, there's a little speech bubble. Go ahead and ask any question that you like, and we'll endeavour to get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us with our webinar today, and we hope to see you again soon in another webinar coming up. Thanks again.